Alright guys, so welcome back to another Patreon request, and this one comes from Hunter Johnson, who, if you guys remember a while back, he asked me to do a Old Man Steven universe, which is different from the Old Man stories I did for a while, and this is a follow-up to that with another character in the Old Man universe, and that is Old Bot B. So, yeah, this kind of takes place in like a cartoon version of like the Old Man Logan stories. And basically, this one is essentially a story where, like in that universe, all the villains got together, killed all the supervillains, killed all the superheroes, and only a handful are still alive. Now, here in this story, in that one we focused on Steven and him becoming, at the end of it, the new leader of what was left of Beach City. So here we follow one of the last Autobots still alive, and that is Bumblebee. So during the night of the massacre of the hero, like the hero homicide or hero holocaust, the Ark fell under attack by not just the Decepticons, but also like a ton of other villains. And in that story, Bumblebee and the other Autobots were basically like just hit hard with everything. They were just fucking just wrecked left and right, just constantly bombarded by everything, and they were just left in in just this state of chaos. You know, you had Ratchet dying, you had Ironhide dying, you had Wheeljack dying, RC gets killed, all of them. And basically what it is that Optimus is, more or less trying to hold the line with all the other Autobots. But what happens is, like, him and, Megatron arrives, and he's just like, with all these other villains around, he's like, why we didn't do this sooner? I don't know. Because this works. This is what I've waited an eternity for. So him and Optimus have their final fight, because Optimus basically says, no one else is gonna kill him but me. No, not one of... he basically... he guns down a villain, one of the other villains going for Prime to fight him, and he's like, no. Prime is and always will be mine. So, the two fight, and during the fight, Bumblebee flees. The Autobots just basically flee, but they're all, even when they run, they are gunned down, and they, they even try to, some of the Autobots that escaped are like, yeah, maybe we can form a resistance or something, and Bumblebee, who's like, no, we can't even go back to Cybertron, it's a dead world that I'm sure, Shockwave and the Decepticon station there have taken over. So the fight's over. It's just basically survive now. That's all we can do is just survive. There's nothing else. There's no fight left. There's no, anything else. It's just survive now. There is only one thing left to do, and that is survive. And that's essentially what has to be done, is just live. That's all they can do, is just live. Live with all of this. And it's brutal. It's just a brutal loss. And so we cut to 50 years in the future, and Bumblebee is still in his VMW mode, and he has just been driving around, using a hologram, trying to steal what energon he can get, and has just been driving across the country. He's just been driving across what was left in the wastelands of the US, and he's just been basically yeah, I've just been keeping my head down. I've been doing all of that and letting these warlords just kill each other. That's all I've really done, is just let these warlords just massacre one another and just lay low. That's all I can do. That's all I continue to do, and that's all I will ever do, is just stay low. That's all I can do, is just stay low, because the fight's over. The fight is it's very much like Obi-Wan, where the fighting is done. We lost. We all collectively, failed. There's nothing else to do. So, however, Megatron is now the lord of a major chunk of the US. He has his own territory, and he's more or less he knows not all the Autobots are dead. Like, he knows enough of them, and some of them are even out in the stars. He's put the word out, like, if you find Autobots hiding out in space, kill them, and you'll get a reward. Like, he tells the bounty hunters all across the galaxy, like, hey, if you see an Autobot out there, gun them down. And if there's any of them left, we'll hunt them down too. We'll hunt them down as well. So yeah. So Bumblebee has been trying to, like, avoid the Megatron-controlled zones. However, he gets one day a call from... Hound. He gets a call from Hound, who, like, is still alive. And he's like, holy shit, Hound, you're still alive. Like, I was not expecting that. And Hound's like, dude, I need your help with something. And Bumblebee immediately goes, nope, let me stop you right there, dude. Let me pump the brakes on whatever you're about to say, because I am in no way going to help, because that shit is not my bag anymore. I don't do the whole help thing anymore, because, yeah, I watched Optimus Prime die. Like, yeah, if in case you haven't noticed, Optimus's head and what's left of the Matrix, because Megatron destroyed the Matrix too, like, he just basically ripped it apart, and it almost killed him, but he was, like, totally worth it. Like, so he hasn't really left his, like, makeshift New Kaon, which is the remnants of Detroit, which he's now called New Kaon. And he's more or less like, yeah, like, in case you haven't realized, we're fucked. Like, it's bad. It's a bad day to be an Autobot. So, dude, do me a favor, whatever it is. And he's like, I'm trying to save some kids. And Bumblebee's like, motherfucker. Okay, what do you want me to do? So Hound basically reveals that, like, these kids were under, like, child labor, were basically used as child labor for one of the other territories. And basically, Hound has basically heard that, like, the other, like, a major territory has been taken over by Steven. Steven Universe has become a new warlord, and he's more or less opened the channel to, like, be like a free zone, like a safe zone among all the other villains. So he basically asks he basically asks Bumblebee, will you come with me and help me take back, like, will you help me get these kids there? I'm the only, like, Sea Spray and Mirage and Moonracer all died. Like, they all died trying to get me this mission. I made a last-ditch call, and I was hoping you'd still be alive, B. We're getting killed out there. Like, we're being hunted. There's not many of us left. So that's so yeah, Bumblebee and Bumblebee has to, like, escort. Bumblebee and Hound have to, like, escort these kids to Steven's, like, Steven's territory. And while they're doing that, they're being hunted relentlessly by Six-Shot, who has now been taking up the whole thing of hunting Autobots. So Six-Shot is the main antagonist of this story, and he's just out hunting relentlessly any Autobots he finds. Not only that, they have other villains to worry about throughout the wastelands of what was the United States throughout this story. So it's a brutal road trip throughout the whole story. Until they find... And unfortunately, to protect the kids, Hound stays behind to fight Six-Shot, and he is killed. Leading to Bumblebee being the only one left, where he is greeted by Dipper, who has, like, if you didn't read if you didn't watch Old Man Steven, in that story, Dipper is the last living Pines family member, and he's paralyzed, and now Jenny, Jenny XJ9, is his AI in the chair, in his little wheelchair he uses, like, kind of like a Professor X Xavier motherfucker. So he's the first one to greet them, and he's like, welcome to the new, the Kingdom of the Gem, and may I introduce our leader, Steven Universe, or as some people call him, the Maestro. So there's where we leave off. So there you go, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this story. I'd like to thank Hunter Johnson for this story and the continued support from him. for Patreon. And like I said, if you would like to have a Patreon done as well, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.